Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Healing Version Podcast. It's your host Debo. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Healing Version Podcast. It's Debo. Hey. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Healing Version Podcast. Thank you for being here. Welcome to all the newcomers. If this is your first time listening to an episode, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow us on all major platforms for podcasting, as well as Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for everybody that's been coming back time and time again. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. So, a little bit about how I've been feeling lately, how my weeks have been going. I haven't checked in with y'all, and I'm so sorry. I ain't checked in with y'all in a few weeks. But I've actually been pretty good. Life is busy as normal. I haven't been doing like too much. I've really been taking my own advice and kind of stepping back and not allowing like too much stuff to be on my plate. Telling people no to things that are just too much for me. And, like I said, just really taking my own advice when it comes to like boundaries and alleviating stress. But what have we done? Yeah, we've been doing a lot. We went to Six Flags a couple of weeks ago. Me and the twins went with my sister and my niece. We did the movies that weekend. We went to go see Bad Boys finally. I found a new business venture that I'm not ready to tell y'all about just yet, but I'm going to share it with y'all because I think it's gonna be dope. School starts for me next month as well as for the kids. The crazy thing is I planned a family vacation right around the time school starts, like me and my planning. Usually I'm pretty good with planning things, but this go round I did not do well. But that's okay. We're gonna go on our vacation, we're gonna come back and dive into the school year. But yeah, overall, I would just say that I've been doing pretty good. Nothing major going on. I haven't been like down like I was a few weeks back. But yeah, so I just want to wish everybody well, like everybody who's listening. I hope that everything is going great in your life. I hope that everything that you're praying for, that you're wishing for, that your heart desires, that you deserve is coming your way. And thank you for being here on this Thriving Thursday. Appreciate y'all. So, on today's episode, I'd like to speak with you guys about a relationship that I was in back in 2013. So basically, today is like a story time. It'll probably be like the first real story time. As you can see from the title, this is a triggers and trauma episode. What I like to do moving forward is have a triggers and trauma episode monthly. And it's not going to always be me. Like, my life has not been that devastating where I have a triggers and trauma episode for y'all every month, thankfully. But if you have something that you've gone through that traumatized you, that it may still be triggering, or just a traumatic experience as a whole, and you'd like to come on, reach out to me. Let's put something on a calendar so that you can get into one of these triggers and traumas episodes. So basically, what I'm going to do today is basically give you like a story time, just run down the timeline about what happened, how this particular relationship molded me into this person who didn't trust people, simply because of what happened to me. It sent me into a downward spiral of depression. So I'm going to get into that and just give y'all like the full rundown of what happened. And y'all, I'm really proud of myself that I'm able to even come and tell this story, because this is something that I wasn't able to talk about for a long time. One of the reasons was I was ashamed. I was ashamed of how it happened, what I allowed into my life, and just knowing that I deserved better, but I settled for something that I know I didn't deserve. However, that experience, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about me, and it just taught me about people and how to handle people and how to look for particular red flags and how to vet people when you're going into this dating scene, into this dating world, what questions to ask people. However, this situation is very unique, but I'm going to get into the story time. Again, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy this episode, and here we go. So, me and this person started dating back in 2013. I think it was like November, December. Um, Now, a little background, he and I knew each other already. We grew up together. Our families are connected, has been connected since before he and I were ever born. So, back in 2013, he was in prison doing a bid, and his mom approached me, and she was like, he really needs somebody like you to like talk to, encourage. Like, she wasn't encouraging me to like date him or anything. She was just saying, like, you got your head on straight, you got stuff going on for yourself. Like, he needs to like experience somebody like you in his life. She was like, can I give him your number so he can call you? And at first, y'all, I was like, no, like, no, I don't, because to me, it just felt like it was a hookup. It wasn't like, oh, he needs somebody to talk to, which, what I'm saying? That's what she was saying. And I'm not saying that she was lying. It just, I know just from experience that talking to people for long periods of time, it can lead you to gaining feelings. And that's exactly what ended up happening with he and I. So, anyway, so eventually, probably after the second or third time, she asked me, I was like, you know what, that's cool. You can give him my number. Just go, go ahead and give him my number. He ended up calling me probably like some days later, and he was just, asking about the kids, asking about me. I was actually in school at the time, taking my prerequisites to get into nursing school, and so I gave him like told him that the rundown, how old my kids is, what my kids doing, what grades they in, all of that good stuff, and so, it started out very innocent and just, really me encouraging him and just finding out, how long he had for his bid, what his plans were when he got out. It was really me encouraging him and just, being a friend. Um, and that was my intentions. My intentions was to encourage him, and all of that. So, so we talked for probably about a month, and then like I guess he started getting feelings or whatever. I don't remember at what point I went to go see him. I think it was like weeks after talking to him. I did my first visit. He was probably like an hour away, maybe an hour and 20 minutes away. Um, I'm in St. Louis. He was in Bonne Terre, Missouri. So if you know where the distance is, so that kind of give you an idea. So I started going to go visit him. I rewind. I went to visit him that first time, and then he wanted me to start writing him. He was like, "Can can you write me?" So we started writing each other back and forth. And this was back in 2013, early 2014. So we were actually, writing. Now I think you can like type something up on a website. But anyway, so we started writing. We started talking every day, and then like after about a month or so, he wanted to like be in a relationship, or maybe like 2 months, I don't know, but he wanted to be in a relationship, and I was just like, no, I don't think it's a good idea, that we be in a relationship. I don't think that it's a good idea. I think that I was put into your life to just encourage you. And at the time, y'all, I was heavily into church. I was at church 2, 3 times a week. And I was just like, like, we unequally yoked. Like, you know what I'm saying? I I don't even know if like you would be my husband. I'm like, I just want you to really get your life together. And when you get out, just, explore your options. I'm like, you never know who you might meet when you get out. I'm really encouraging him to, just stay single and just get out and just see, what's popping. So he was just like, no, like, I know that I want you, blase, blase, blase. Um, so after a while, like after him asking, after us writing, after, feelings being expressed, after talking on the phone as much as we were, um, me going to visit him, I finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a chance. Like my family know your family. I've known you my entire life. Like, how bad could it be? Like how bad could this get? Um little did I know. So we started talking relationship wise, and he had like less than a year to go for his bid. And I was just, I was really there for him in like ways that apparently he said that his family wasn't there. He couldn't call any of them. They wouldn't put money on the phone. He was only like an hour away. Nobody came and visit him. I think I was his first visit in over a year. Um, so he was like really like he really sold me with like you know what I'm saying, you like the only person that care about me, you look out for me, like I feel like you really love me, I love you, blase blase, right? So um his out date was in May. So before he got out, I knew that he was one going to need a wardrobe because he had been locked up for 6 years. He was gonna need new shoes, clothes. So I'm asking him like, what kind of shoes you want? What do you want to wear? Like asking what kind of clothes you want to wear. Blase blase. So I'm going to these stores. I'm getting all this stuff for him. Um, and he was going to be on probation, so he's like, I need somewhere that I can stay. I need like an address to use or whatever to get to my probation officer to say that, what I'm saying, I'm staying somewhere. He's like, I don't got nobody else. And at first I was like, well, no, because the plan was for him to not move in with me because, like I said, I was in church, and the best thing I was trying to do, or what I was striving for, is to not be fornicating. So I'm like, I don't want you coming to stay with me because that's just gonna be tempting. We gonna eventually start having sex. Um, so the plan was for him to stay at my mom's house, and but still like use my address for his probation officer or whatever. So fast forward, he got out in like mid May 2014. I drove down, took his clothes, his new shoes, all of that to him. Um, he was grateful, of course. So he got his clothes and all that. He put it, then he had been saying like for months that he wanted to take me out on a date. He like, as soon as you pick me up, we going out on a date. I'm gonna take you. I forgot where he was gonna take me to, but we ended up going to Chili's. Um, it still was a day. I still was grateful. So we went to Chili's, and then later on that day, we like chilled with his family. And like, mind you, like I've known him my whole life, so I know his mama, his brother, his sisters, his uncles. Like I know everybody. Everybody's rooting for us. His stepdad just like, I never would have thought y'all would be together, but like I'm glad. I'm saying, you in his corner. All of that, and I was like, I was happy to be there for him. Like I honestly, I everything that I did for him, I would have did for him without being in a relationship. Not probably not as much, like not as writing as much, not bought him as many clothes and shoes as I did, not buying him a cell phone, but I still would have looked out because it's just the type of person I am. It's just the type of heart that I have. Like I'm a Cancer. My birthday is July 21st, coming up, 8/8. And if you know Cancers, we are very giving and loving, and we just we giving, like we like to like make people happy. So like I said, I would have looked out for him even if we didn't get into a relationship. So anyway, so like Father's Day had came up. I had hooked him up for Father's Day, looked out for him really nice, and when I he ended up staying at my house. We started having sex, of course, and he ended up getting me pregnant. And I got pregnant by him probably like 2 months after he got out. Um, I found out I was pregnant. I told him. He wasn't really like, he didn't really have a reaction. Like, I can't say he was upset. He wasn't happy. He just really didn't have a reaction. Um, and with this pregnancy came sickness. I got like really, really sick. I couldn't get up and clean and cook for my kids and, do the motherly duties and things that I was able to do before pregnancy. Like, that baby had me so sick. And I could remember asking him one day, I was like, hey, can you fix the kids some food? Because I can't do it. I can't get up and do it. And he was like, no, I'm not fixing nothing for your kids. Like, I'm not feeding them. Them not my kids. And I'm like, what? I'm like, they don't have to be your kids for you to feed them. I'm like, so you're not going to feed my kids? He was like, no. Next thing you know, he came to me and he was like, hey, look, I'm getting my stuff. I'm finna move out. My cousin finna come get me. I'm gonna go stay in my cousin's house. I don't want to be with you no more. Y'all, I'm like, what? You don't want to be with me no more? I'm like, I'm confused because, like, where's this coming from? Like, what do you mean you don't want to be with me no more? You just got out 2 months ago. You've been living with me. You didn't got me pregnant. Not to mention everything I've done for you that, I would never throw it in nobody's face, you know what I'm saying? The amount of things that I've done for them. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, what? So, nigga, basically, you used me. So he left or whatever. And then I think probably like 2 weeks or so after that, I had a doctor's appointment. Now, before my doctor's appointment, I went into like this really depressive mode to where I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to get out the bed. I didn't want to eat. I don't want to do nothing. And I had decided that in that time, I was like, I don't want this baby. Like, I don't want this baby. Like, I have 3 kids by one man right now, that I'm not in a relationship with. We never been married. I'm like, if I'm going to have a kid by somebody, I want it to be with somebody that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So I just knew, like, in that time that he wasn't somebody that I mean, like, at that moment, of course, he wasn't somebody that I was gonna spend the rest of my life with. Hell, he just left, said he didn't want to be with me. This nigga couldn't even feed my kids, and I felt like he felt like I was asking him for too much. Like, you want me to feed your kids and all that. So anyway, so fast forward back to the doctor's appointment. So I at this point, okay, let's rewind. So at first, when he first left, I decided, I was like, I don't want this baby. I contemplated having an abortion. I was like, should I get an abortion? Like, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna get an abortion. Like, I don't know who this child could be, what this child could be. I'm not gonna get an abortion. I'm just like, whatever. And so I was like, you know what? I'm like, I don't think God would have blessed me with another child if it wasn't meant for me to have this child. This child wasn't supposed to be here, whatever the purpose is for this baby. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a baby. I'm not gonna go through no abortions. I'm just gonna have a baby, and it is what it is. Like, I've been doing it this long with 3 kids. What's one more? So my doctor's appointment came up, my first appointment, and during that appointment, they did a vaginal ultrasound. Sorry, men, but ladies, y'all, if you had kids, or even if you didn't have kids, so basically, a vaginal ultrasound, they put like the ultrasound thing like inside of you to like see, the baby, what the baby got going on, especially like so early in pregnancy. So I'm laying on the table, and the doctor, she's doing the ultrasound, and like I'm looking at the monitor because it's like on the TV and it's like up on the wall. So I'm looking at the monitor as she's doing the ultrasound, and I can see like the head and the back, and I'm like, oh. And so I'm asking the doctor, I'm like, is that the head? And so she doesn't say anything to me. She's just still doing the ultrasound. She's not saying anything. She's not even looking at me. And I'm like, okay. And so she was like, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." And I'm like, "Okay, what the hell?" So she leaves out of the room. She comes back in, and she has another doctor with her. And I'm like, "Okay, like." And so she was like, "I'm gonna have her to check you, just check the babies, see what's going on." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So the other doctor, she goes in, she's doing ultrasound, and she looks at my doctor and she shakes her head no. And so then that doctor leaves out, and my doctor, she was like, "I'm so sorry." She was like, "But this baby does not have a heartbeat. And from what I can tell, the baby passed maybe like a week ago." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "The baby passed." And she's like, "Yeah, there's no heartbeat." And she's just like, "The baby hasn't like done any growing, like the based on how far along you are and the size of the baby hasn't grown in a week." And she's like, "You just and there's no heartbeat. We can't find a heartbeat." She was like, "It's very important that we go ahead and do an emergency DNC and just take and remove the baby, because if we don't, you're going to hemorrhage and you could bleed to death." So I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, I came here just to see, how the baby's doing, get my due date, all this good stuff. No, actually, I already had my due date. Um, so I'm like I'm blown away, y'all. Like, I'm instantly like heartbroken because, as I stated, I had came to grips with, okay, I'm gonna have this baby. It is what it is. Like, whatever. And just to find out that the baby had passed, and now I gotta get put to sleep, and y'all gotta take my baby out of me. So that was probably like a Friday. They scheduled me for like a Monday morning surgery, and my mom ended up going with me because, y'all, I hadn't heard from him, like, since he had left my house. He didn't call and check and see how I was doing, if I needed anything. I take that back. I think like one time he maybe had called and like pretended to care. And I say pretended because, like, you couldn't possibly have really cared about me um, if you left me high and dry like you did. But anyway, but like, he had asked me that I won something, and I think I had asked him for like some Rolos and some hot wings, and he has mom to bring it to me, which was fine. Like, I got what I wanted, but it was just like he took the coward way out. So anyway, back to the story or whatever. So he hadn't checked on me or anything. So when that Monday came, my mom took me for my surgery because, of course, I was going under. They, gonna put me to sleep, so I needed somebody to drive me home. So I was just like, I was really heartbroken. Like, I was crying. Like, my feelings was hurt because he left me. Then I was even more hurt because the baby died. Um, after my surgery, I woke up, and like, I was just hoping like maybe he really is a decent human being, and like he'll be here when I wake up or something. No, it was my mom. My mom was there. Took me, got me something to eat, then took me home, made sure I was straight, kept the kids for me so that I can get some rest after my surgery, and and recover from surgery. Um, Even after my surgery, I hadn't heard from him. Actually, I went to my mom's house. I stayed at her house because I remember she let me have her room, and I slept on her bed for probably like a week or two. Because I remember she ended up having like some company or some people over, and one of my cousins came in there, and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Girl, I lost my baby. Like, I had to get my baby surgically removed." And she was like, "What? Your baby?" She was like, "I didn't even know you was pregnant." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, it was really early on. Like, it was really early pregnancy and whatever, whatever. So I can remember during that time of being in my mom's house, his mom came over. And he was the one who brought his mom over. He knew that I was in the house. He didn't come check on me. Um, my mom was the one to tell me, like, yeah, he dropped his mom off, and he said that he was in a hurry. He had to go take his daughter somewhere or something like that. I don't know. Some bullshit ass excuse. Excuse my language, but I was really, really angry at him. Like, really, really angry. I could not understand how you could do somebody the way he was doing me after everything I did for him. After, like, Scratch everything I did for him. Nigga, I've known you your whole life. You've known me my whole life. Like you anyway, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. But anyway, so I stayed at my mom's house. Then eventually one day I ended up talking to him. I don't remember how the conversation came about, if he called me, if I called him, but I just remember having a conversation with him, and I was upset. I was going off. I was like, first of all, you leave me while I'm pregnant. I'm sick. I can barely take care of my kids because of my pregnancy and just being sick. So you know what I'm saying, you basically neglected me and my children, didn't want to, feed them, blase, blase. And then you don't even call me or anything when I'm going through what I'm going through. And he's like, what you going through? And I that's when I told him that I had lost the baby. The baby, passed away or whatever. And he was like, how was I supposed to know that you lost the baby if you didn't tell me? If you don't tell me, how I'm supposed to know? Nigga, my mama talked to your mama. I know my mama told your mama because my mama told me that she told your mom. So I know your mama told you. So I'm just like, I'm not going to argue with you about you being a decent human being. If you didn't feel it was important enough for you to call and check on your child or check on me while I'm pregnant with your child, after everything, then, it is what it is. And like even after all of that, even after I went through all of that with him, losing a baby, him not caring about me or the baby, the house that I was living in when he was released from prison, I actually moved. I moved to a bigger, better house in a better neighborhood, and like God just started like blessing me, and I was accepting all those blessings. So this Negro begged my mama to tell him where I moved to. She didn't tell him. She wouldn't tell him. She like, I'm not telling you where she moved to. Like, why would I tell you that? Like, you didn't even care about her or what was going on with her when you know what I'm saying, when you knew where she lived. Now you don't have any, like, I think it was more like a control thing, or like, I don't know, some type of mental retardation, because how do you not care about me when you have access to me? You know where I'm at, you know where I live, you know where I sleep, you know where I work, you know all of this, and you just don't care enough to even pick up the phone or just send me a quick little text message. But you are worried about where I live once I move. Like, what kind of goofy, silly, but yeah. Um, but like I had that man's back and his front in just a major way. Like, they in prison they have something called food visits, and they have them maybe once a month, maybe every other month, but it's like a high priority thing. You got to sign up for it, blah blah blah, whatever. So um he would get his food visit, and he wanted stuff, like he wanted food from Emos, Red Robins, White Castles. Like, he had a list of stuff. He want his mama homemade potato salad. Yeah, and I was taking his mama to go visit him too while he was locked up. But anyway, I would take him all this food for his food visits. I was putting money on his books. I was keeping money on my phone so that he can call me. I'm visiting him weekly. Um, looking out for I was even looking out for his cellie that was like in the cell with him. Um I got him a cell phone for when he got out. He could have a cell phone, y'all. And he was like being so picky with what phone. He was like, I want a phone like you. I want my phone like yours. I want a big screen. It's like, um, just looked out for this man in a major way, only for him to get out and betray me in a major way. And that experience really, like, I think that was probably one of the most depressive times. It may not have been one of the darkest times of my life, but it definitely, like, I didn't want to do nothing. Like, I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to comb my hair. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to, like, I felt shameful. I felt stupid. I felt played. I didn't feel pretty. Like, I'm questioning, like, my worth. Am I good enough? And y'all, I'm gonna say this, and this is no shade to the church, but like, with the growth and just like my spiritual walk and everything that I'm like now, I have more, what's the word I want to look for? Like, I'm looking for I have more willpower and more strength to, like, not fornicate and not give attention to people who don't deserve it, not give into certain situations. Like, I ignore you Negroes in a heartbeat. A nigga from jail couldn't get me to send him a stamp. And that's just what it is. I honestly, I feel like, and this no shade to the jail people, and I'm gonna go back to the church thing in a minute, but like, I just feel like when men be locked up, or I ain't never talked to no woman that was locked up, but I feel like for the men that are locked up and you like come into their life while they're locked up, you're golden to them, especially if you're doing things like visiting them, putting money on their books. Like, they gonna tell you any and everything to keep you in their corner. So like, yeah, we not experimenting with that anymore. But back to the church thing. I just, and again, it's no shade to like church or anybody that's in church. I just feel like I was going to church because people like wanted me to be in church, or people like thought that going to church was a good thing for me. Like, I really didn't have that power that I have now. Like, the willpower and everything that I have now, I didn't have that. And I think it's crazy that, you know what, we can go down that road. But anyway, but I was so depressed and just so like, it was a bad time. And I'm just really proud of myself that I'm able to come and like share this story with y'all, because it was a point in my life where I couldn't talk about this. I couldn't open my mouth. I wouldn't dare tell people like what I let a nigga do to me, like how somebody betrayed me. I was shamed. I was shamed, and I look on those, like, I look back at that time like in my pictures and stuff, and I just look at my face. I'm like, man, I was sad. And then I had 3 kids that were like right there too, and they was feeling all those emotions too. And y'all, I failed to mention that my kids had got attached to him. My son, I won't mention which one, but like when he left us, my baby cried. He was like, "Can you tell him to come back?" And I'm like, he don't want to be here. Like, no, I can't tell him to come back. I'm not going to tell him to come back. And I even told him, like, my baby be asking for you, and like he be crying. He didn't care. He did not care. So I shared this story with y'all so that just know that you are worth more than anybody could ever make you feel. Just know that some people are put into your life to show you things about you and just show you things that you need to grow from, that you need to work on. This experience with him, it really did teach me like that you like don't be so gullible. Like, I feel like I was gullible as heck, y'all. I was green. Like, no, like, you gotta stand up for yourself, and just know that because somebody makes you feel less than, that's just a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of who you are and who you're going to be. You got this. Thanks so much, y'all, for coming back for another episode of the Healing Version podcast. Thank you for allowing me to come back week and week and be transparent with you all. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it, y'all. And always remember that you can do anything you put your heart, you put your mind, you put your soul to. You are the author of your life. You are the one who is most responsible for speaking positivity and believing that it is so. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Remember to follow us on the Facebook at The Healing Version. Also on Instagram at The Healing Version Podcast. We're on YouTube, y'all. Can y'all go follow my YouTube? It's free to follow my YouTube. I appreciate the support anyhow. If you're not following on Spotify or Apple Podcast app, please do so. You can always email us at thehealingversion@gmail.com. Again, thank you all so much for being here and listening to what I have to say. Week after week, y'all come back. All right, until next time, peace.